Hi, and welcome to this episode of The Forge. We've got a great show for you. We've got Anum Hussain, who's going to be talking from HubSpot about inbound marketing, which is some really cool stuff. We've got a little mischievous fun that you can do with Snagit. And then we're going to be talking about how you can record things like Skype to get both sides of the conversation so you can share that out with other people who maybe couldn't make the phone call. So it's going to be a great show. Give us a second, and we're on with The Forge. All right, as we mentioned, we've got a fantastic show for you. But before we get started, a couple things I want to remind you of. If you've been watching for Screenchamp Awards, they are on. We're accepting your entries right now. Don't forget, you could win this bad boy right here. Big old trophy plus some awesome prizes. But the deadline's coming up soon. It's going to be on Monday, October 15th. The cutoff is 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Why 5 p.m. Eastern Time? Don't ask. It's just easier that way. So let's get into our show. We're so excited to welcome our guest, Anum Hussain from HubSpot. Anum, welcome. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to start talking about inbound marketing.
All right. So there's probably a lot of our viewers out there who aren't quite initiated with inbound marketing or what HubSpot does. Why don't you give us a quick background about what you guys do and what this inbound marketing thing is?
Sure. So HubSpot itself is a marketing software that helps businesses generate leads and get found online. So what I mean by that is what we've sort of paved the path for is instead of these traditional marketing methods where you're sending people information hoping that they'll then respond to you via billboards and TV advertisements and things of that nature. Instead, we're helping you search engine optimize all of your content, provide content, use social media, blogging, email marketing, all your marketing channels online to get people to find you instead. And so what our software does is it helps you seamlessly go through that process and really personalize and customize your marketing to your audience so that they're getting the benefit and you're seeing the results.
So it's pretty awesome that this idea is it kind of changes the model around. Instead of doing the get people to look at something, do something, you're trying to create content, right?
Right.
Awesome. So with that, if I'm creating content, does that really, I don't know if I'm cynical here or not, but does that really work if you put content out there and try to get people to use it and read it?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, content is really the heart of your marketing, because even when you were thinking about outbound tactics versus online tactics, you're still giving them a piece of content, whether it's a TV advertisement or a billboard. That's still a piece of content. And so you're spending all this money to blast it out to people. So instead of doing that, why not just have content that's relevant to them online and free for them to use? So for example, with HubSpot, we learned that people need to learn how to do their marketing better. And so we created a series of marketing ebooks that teach people how to use inbound marketing and how to become better marketers. As a result, they become warmed up to our company. And any business can do that, whether it's through having them fill out a form for a coupon, having them read a blog post, having them come to a social media post. You're using content as a means to warm people up to your brand and to learn about your brand, because eventually they probably have a need for your product. But they don't know that when they first get to know you, which is why TV advertisements don't work so well. You're forcing people to realize they need a product instead of getting them to understand your brand and accept your brand. And when they're ready to make a decision, be like, oh yeah, I already filled out a piece of a form from that company, or yeah, I already read something on their blog about this, so maybe I should just go with them because they've already helped me out in the past.
Right, so I love this idea that it's about trying to help your audience to be successful or to do something more. So if someone's trying to get started with this, because as most of our viewers probably know, of course, TechSmith's tools are really good at creating content, but if someone's trying to get started at doing this, there's a lot of things I guess you could do, but where's a good place to get started?
So the easiest place to get started is with social media and blogging. It's obviously difficult to jump in and start creating an ebook about a certain topic when you haven't really figured out what you want to be talking about in the first place. And so what you need to be able to do is understand, okay, this is the product that we have. This is the purpose that it meets. But why do people even have that need? Why is that need there? And how can we help them either recognize that need or improve upon their journey to getting that need? So one example I would give is that magazines are always, right, especially women's magazines, talk about different hairstyles, correct? But if you think
Sure.
about it, why is a women's magazine talking about that when a hair salon could theoretically have a blog talking about all of that content? So I bring this up because it's happened to me once where I was searching for, and don't judge, I didn't end up doing it. I wanted to get a perm for my hair. And so I didn't understand, because I knew some friends who had wasted a lot of money and it didn't work out. And so I found this blog post from a hair salon where they told you exactly what type of perm you needed based on the length of your hair, the thickness, the type of hair you had, the color of your hair. All these are the things I would have never thought about. And so because that hair salon taught me, if someone ever brings up a perm, I'm like, oh, you should check out this salon because they clearly know what they're doing. And so that's not something you need to think about. Theoretically, if you're in that industry, you should know all that information already. You're just taking it and posting it somewhere and using it as a means to get people to come to your business.
Well, as everyone can tell, I actually have a market on the hair corner. You know, it's actually a good segment for me and our viewers. They know they can trust me with decisions about hair. So one of the things I can see where this gets interesting is obviously, you know, it's really, for most part, it's really easy to write something. You can, you know, because we all have some knowledge. If it's kind of in your expertise area, it's easy to come up with something to say.
Right.
You know, you might not have a lot to say at first, but you obviously gain traction. How important are things like visuals and video, especially given the way it seems like the world's going, where, you know, as I look online, I see lots of videos, I see lots more types of images. I guess what part do they play in all this kind of inbound marketing?
Visual content plays a huge role in its smallest efforts as well as its largest efforts. So in its smallest efforts, that could be an image you post on social media. It could be the image that goes along with your blog post. If you don't have a captivating image that's really describing what you're going to be talking about, someone's not going to click on it. And the truth is that people have very short attention spans these days, and we all know that. We all know that everyone has short attention spans. People can't even go on dates without doing something on their phone. They can't focus on one person. They need to be doing a million things at once. And so that same type of reality translates over to visual content. People don't have the time to really read everything that you have to offer, but if you give them an infographic that goes through all the information very quickly, so that they can grasp it, and if you can then use that infographic to capture their attention and be like, wait, no, I really do want to learn more about this. This is really interesting. And then you have more information written below it for them to go a step further. The same thing with video marketing. We recently did a parody of the Gangnam Style video. We actually did it right before it became hugely popular, and that's like the perfect time to create something that's viral. It's before everyone's doing it, because then your video is one of the ones helping its popularity. And so with that, it's a type of content that has nothing to do with our product. There's little to no branding in it, aside from the fact that it's our employees and they're doing this video. And that's a means for people to be entertained, have some sort of visual content there, engage with, and then later down the line be like, oh yeah, that company was really cool. Maybe we should consider them when it comes to our marketing too. And so that's sort of the role that visual content plays.
So it's interesting because, you know, you talk about this idea of being viral, and you know, the Gangnam video. There's lots you could, like, obviously a parody of that. I could see where it's really a kind of slippery slope, though. Do you find that you have to be really careful about what you choose, because if you hit the wrong timing or it doesn't go over well, that can have a negative effect on what you're trying to do? I
think that you can never go into something with the idea that you want it to be viral. You can't have your strategy be virality. The way that we had thought about it is we knew that at some point we wanted to create some piece of content that would go viral. But it wasn't like, okay, let's sit down and brainstorm what we can do to create viral content. We continued the pace of the content we create. We continued uploading YouTube videos. We did our normal thing, but then when the Gangnam Style thing appeared and we realized that it hadn't been done yet, I was like, okay, go, all hands on deck and make this happen. People stopped what they were doing and for 2 days straight just worked on that video. You can't plan for that. And that's where I like to think chance favors the prepared mind. You have to be ready to take action when it happens, but you can't possibly think that you're just going to create a viral video out of nowhere, or a viral piece of content out of nowhere.
So from your experience, because that's a lot about serendipity, right? That's good science in a lot of ways, is good serendipity. So do you think that paying attention to trends, and are those things really important, or does it really depend, because HubSpot's trying to obviously do a lot with social, be a leader in this space? Does it make sense for you guys to pay more attention to there? But should they say, you know, I'm working with engineers? They don't care about Gangnam Style dancing or whatever. Does that, you
Well,
think has an issue?
Our lead in the video who plays PSY is actually an engineer.
Okay.
And some of the other people in the videos were actually engineers. But I understand what the question you're asking. I don't think that it's a matter of sitting and be like, I need to be up on every single trend happening at all times. Because we weren't doing that. We obviously are looking at trends within the industry and in the world and trying to keep up with it on an individual basis, but it's not like there's a goal, okay, this person is in charge of looking at all the trends. It's sort of just, you realize that the culture that your company forms is around the kind of people you attract and the kind of audience that you're going to ultimately be marketing to. And so naturally that trend should appear to someone and then they can take action. You can't go looking for trends. Those trends come to you, and when you realize it comes to you, you can then capitalize on it.
So as someone's trying to get going this, you mentioned a couple of things they should be doing to get started. Are there any other tips that you would recommend for, especially for maybe people who are, they're already trying to create content, or maybe they're not so worried about getting an external audience? Because a lot of the people that are probably watching this want to, they've got internal audiences, right? Like, I'm trying to communicate with staff or, the employee base. Are there other tips that you could recommend or suggest?
So are you asking for content for your internal company?
Well, just ways to get that, because obviously driving internal ideas is sometimes like you want people to get to, to the whatever the end state, right? So how do you, I guess just other tips or ideas for helping to share the message and get that spread throughout to reach your audience?
Right. So, your employee base is a really important communications tool. We use something called Gaggle. It's a tool. It's also integrated with HubSpot for people who use HubSpot, but it's a tool anyone can use. And what Gaggle does is it allows employees from your company to sync up their social media accounts. And then one person who's in charge of that Gaggle account, ideally your social media or some form of a content person, can go in and schedule messages through all those employee accounts. And so what that does is that it helps share the ideas that you have through your employee networks. And so that's a really great way if you're creating content, but you want to find a way to spread that content faster, you can employ your employees to do so.
Very cool. Well, we're just about out of time for our interview today. I guess if anyone wants more information about HubSpot or want to learn more about the inbound marketing, where should they go and what should they do?
If you go to HubSpot.com, there's a ton of information. If you're looking for specific resources, you can go to HubSpot.com/marketing-resources. But if you want to learn just in general about inbound marketing, go to blog.hubspot.com and you can continuously see content coming from us.
And we'll make sure those links are on the blog after we get the video posted. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We're going to take a quick break and jump over to some other content. We're going to be watching something mischievous uses of Snagit. Our own Dave McCullom and Jason Valade. Whoa, they're going to do something crazy here, I'm sure. I haven't even seen this. That's how crazy it is. So we're going to jump to that, and we'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Valade.
And I'm Dave McCullom. Jason and I are both on the academic team here at TechSmith, so that means we're pretty smart. And Jason, what I'm wondering is why exactly you've called me here today.
Well, as I'm sure you know, Dave, we here at TechSmith are known for providing solutions that help you communicate visually and be a contributing member of a team. With our products like Snagit, it's really easy to create eye-catching images and videos for quick communication.
Sure is, Jason. Snagit is indeed wonderful, but did you know that Camtasia has all the tools that you need to truly customize and edit your videos?
You bet I did.
But what you may not know is that TechSmith tools are often employed by the likes of hoodlums, hooligans, rapscallions, and no-goodniks for, dare I say, evil?
Evil? Do you mean like vegan bacon?
Whoa. Easy now. I'm not talking about that pure evil. I'm thinking more along the lines of office pranks, general tomfoolery, and such.
Well, Dave, Halloween is coming up, and I'm feeling a bit wicked. So maybe our viewers would love to see some examples of this evil that you speak of?
Sounds like a devilishly good idea.
If you know Dave like I do, you know that he leans towards being a jerk most of the time. So in order to level the playing field, here's a great way to make Dave question his sanity. What I have here is Dave's actual desktop. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a snapshot using Snagit of his desktop to make him think his icons are really there, when in fact they're not. So the first thing in this step, what I want to do is I'm going to come down to his taskbar here. I'm going to go into the properties, and I'm going to tell the computer to auto-hide his taskbar. That's going to get it out of the way and give us a clean canvas for taking a picture. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to use Snagit's built-in shortcut button, which is print screen. And I'm going to take a picture of his entire desktop as it stands now. And what that's going to happen is going to open in the Snagit editor. And to get it ready to use as a desktop wallpaper, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to save it outside of Snagit. And the best way to save this is to go to Save As. And we're going to save it as a JPEG. And I'm going to call this Dave Desktop. And I already happen to have a tomfoolery folder on his desktop that I'm going to save it in. Okay. Once that's been saved, I'm going to go ahead and right-click on the desktop, and I'm going to tell the computer to go to View here, and I'm going to discheck Show Desktop Icons. As soon as I do that, the icons still exist, but not in a physical form, so they cannot be clicked on at this point. And I'm going to replace his current picture here by right-clicking on the desktop, go down to the Personalize menu, and I'm going to change the desktop background. Once I click here, all I need to do is make sure that the location I'm pulling the picture from is the tomfoolery folder. And here I see the one that I had picked earlier and taken a picture of. As soon as I click Save Changes, I now have a beautiful representation of Dave's original desktop. However, none of these are active icons. Not a one of them. So this should easily make Dave question his sanity for a good while. And then once his frustration level has subsided, I'm going to make it slightly more frustrating for him. I'm going to right-click on the desktop, go back to my View option, and I'm going to tell the computer to go ahead and show the desktop icons one more time. Now the icons exist, but so does that background picture. So all I need to do to increase his questionable sanity is to just slightly move the copies of those icons off and over to the right here, or to the left, wherever I choose. And you'll notice that with two versions, one is still the background, and the other one's the actual functional icon. So that's just one great way to use Snagit in the evil, evil way.
All right, Jason, looks like we're even. We can't have that. So, should you fall prey to such shenanigans, here are some more examples of how you can use Snagit to deliver the appropriate comeuppance. So Snagit Stamps are a great way to enhance your screen captures, but they also play a crucial role in the aforementioned comeuppance. All right, so when I think about getting someone back, I think about taking their head and putting it on something else. So the great part about Snagit Stamps is you can easily throw their heads on just about anything, but you need to know how to create and import your own Snagit stamps. So we're already in Stamps here, so clicked on the Stamps icon. And to get into your own section here, just expand this and go down to the Organized Stamps section here. You'll see there's a folder called My Stamps, then that's for your own stamps, but I've actually created my own folder called Tomfoolery, and you'll see I have some heads already in here. But what I want to do is add one that I've created for Jason, and so you can create these in Snagit, but I like using something a little more precise like Photoshop, or in this case, I used an online editor called Pixlr. So to bring it in, I'm going to jump back to Snagit here, and I'm going to click on the plus here and add a new stamp. And I have Jason's head right here, so we'll bring this one in, click close, and go back here to my stamps to the tomfoolery section, and then I have all of my heads here. So we'll select Jason, and I think this looks like a great picture to throw Jason on, so we'll bring this up and go back to stamps here, and now I just have to click, and there's Jason. We'll get him sized only moderately inappropriately there. And we have Jason on the Cool as Ice movie poster.
Hey, drop the zero and get with the hero.
Now, I do feel a little bit bad about this because it is Jason's birthday today. And so I got to do something nice for him. So we've got Jason here. And Jason, I want to wish you a happy birthday. So happy birthday, Jason.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Dave.
And I have to admit, I got a little help on this segment, so I wanted to thank the three amigos here, Brett Clark, Mark Siegel, and Brian Bennett. They inspired this by sharing some examples of how they use use Snagit in their everyday conversation with their personal learning networks to just kind of make fun of each other and occasionally do something that could be considered borderline productive, if you stretch it a little bit. Thanks for watching. We hope that this was both educational and preemptively diabolical.
Now, we've just exposed the tip of the iceberg to how you can use Snagit for tomfoolery and general office hijinks. Think you can do better? Do you have some ideas you'd like to share so I can catch Dave when he's not paying attention?
Yeah, that sounds like a great... Hey, wait a minute. TechSmith is not responsible for any vigilante justice dispensed as a result of tomfoolery related to any topics discussed in this segment or retribution resulting in your being
fired,
suspended,
shunned,
egged,
evicted,
dissed,
served,
punked,
slapped,
smacked,
punched,
kicked,
wedgied,
assaulted,
arrested,
deported,
dumped, divorced, or left at the altar,
unfriended, unfollowed, unliked, unsubscribed, untagged, -1, thumbs down.
Or your parents telling you they're not mad at you, they're just very disappointed.
Hey, we're back. Thanks to Jason and Dave. We think if you're out there using Snagit, please snag responsibly. Okay, now on to more useful things. We're going to be here with Walter Pelowski. Walter, welcome to the Forge.
Thank you very much.
Walter's here to talk to us about something that we've gotten a lot of requests for, is how do you go about capturing your Skype conversations, both sides of it, for use later on. So if you want to share that information. So you're here to walk us through it?
Yep.
Let's get started.
Yeah, not just Skype, but I want to let's expand it a little bit. Let's
absolutely.
say Skype, let's say Google Hangouts, let's say any sort of online social interaction. Let's include webinars in the mix. And I'll give you some general tips on how you can record all of those things using TechSmith software.
Fantastic, because we've seen that a lot, right? People want to capture those interactions that they have, but they don't know how. So
Yep.
where do we start?
Okay, so the first thing that you want to determine is what exactly are you going to record? Specifically, what audio are you going to record? We know you're going to record the screen, but when you're talking about the audio, obviously it's your own voice, okay, and that's going to be local. But then
That's the easy part, right?
That's the easy part. And then it's the voices of others, and then specifically, how do you get that audio? And when I say specifically, is it coming through your speakers on your computer, or are you communicating like in a webinar? Sometimes you can do it all over the phone call, right? So where is that audio coming in? And if you think about it in that way, a lot of the same sorts of interactions like Skype and Google Hangouts are essentially the same in how you record them. So you first figure out what is it that you're going to record, and then step two is, okay, how are we going to record that? So the first way we'll do the really low tech solution. The really low tech solution is you have your microphone next to your speakers, okay? So if you have your speakers set up and you have your microphone, you're just capturing all the audio that you can hear coming out of your speakers, and you're capturing that along with your voice.
So you probably don't want to eat your lunch and do that at the same time, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't work out very well.
And it's definitely not good quality. If you have an omnidirectional mic, that's probably better, because then you don't have your speakers right in front of your microphone. This is a $100 omnidirectional mic that works really well for something like that. But that's not why people are tuned in. You want the high-tech way, the better quality way of doing that recording. And what you're going to want to think about is, especially if the audio is coming through your machine, you want to think about system audio. The key term there is system audio, and you need to have some recorder that supports system audio capture.
Right.
Now, for TechSmith software, what that's going to, the pieces of software that you're going to need, or the versions that we have that support that, just in general, I'm going to say, you're going to want the latest and greatest, okay? System audio is not a super easy thing, especially on the Mac side, which we'll get to. But the versions that support this are Camtasia Studio 7 and 8. So it started supporting it in 2010, March of 2010.
And probably a caveat with that is if you're on XP, you might have even difficulties. Windows Vista and 7,
yes,
better than XP.
Absolutely. You're going to need, ideally, Windows 7 or 8. Okay, but it'll also work on Vista, but nobody recommends Vista.
Yeah,
so
no.
Why
bother?
So, but no, XP, just because of the hardware, because of the operating system, it's harder to capture. So you're going to need Windows 7 or 8. Camtasia Relay 4.1.1 as of August of this year on both the Mac and the PC side. Camtasia Mac 2.2.1 as of September 18th supported system audio, and Snagit 11.1 as of just 2 days ago. So you need the latest
Just in
version
time.
of Snagit to do this.
We asked them for that just for the show.
Well, I'm going to show you really quickly how you get to those things. And I also want to mention, you no need to take notes here. Obviously, you can replay it on the video later. But we have a bunch of show notes where I have a whole guide that kind of walks you through this. So you'll see all this
We'll
stuff.
put that
in
on the
guide.
blog after the show so that you guys can have access to it.
Yep. Okay, so let me bring up Snagit, and I'll show you where that's at in 1.1. I'll go ahead and do a record of the screen here, some area of the screen of video, and you'll notice that here is system audio down here. It's automatically turned on, so you don't even have to enable it. For Camtasia Studio, and I'm on the PC, so I'm showing on the PC side, but on Camtasia for Mac, it's pretty obvious as well. Down here, when you're selecting your audio, there's this checkbox, record system audio.
And that's on by default as well.
Yep. And then finally, if you're a Camtasia Relay customer, we'll just close this one down. Camtasia Relay customer, on by default, once again, record system audio, this checkbox. It's very similar on the Mac side. So those are the things you're going to want to look for. You're going to want to record system audio. As Matt mentioned, not going to be supported on XP. You'll notice that we didn't mention Jing. Not supported on Jing right now, and not on Snagit for Mac. On the Mac side, you Mac people, you're not going to like to hear this, but it's a lot harder for us to accomplish it on the Mac side. The operating system doesn't support it natively, so there's a lot of extra stuff that we have to do on the Mac side to make it work. But so the next thing you're going to want to do is what I would recommend is plug in and have your headsets ready, okay?
This is so Walter can just hear himself.
Yeah, this is just so I can hear myself. The reason you're going to want to do that, thank you. I'll open it up so I can still hear you, I guess. But the reason you're going to want to do this is you're not going to want any of the audio coming through. You're not going to want to do it that low-tech way that we talked about, right? So we want it just captured by the software itself. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to unplug the sound from this machine going out, and I'm going to plug in my headphones, okay? So I'm going to do that. And despite my best judgment, we're going to do this live. And we're going to go ahead and try it live, even though we're broadcasting our screen. Lots of technological things going on here. But we'll start off with Skype, and then if we have time, we'll get to Google Hangouts.
Absolutely,
okay?
Let's go for it.
So we're going to go to Skype, and you just saw Jason Valade. He did that video just a moment ago. I'm going to go ahead and call him on Skype. So I'm going to do this video call.
Questionable judgment again by Walter's part, but hey, it's Jason.
That's
like
typical stuff.
Probably not going to answer now. He's watching.
Hey, how's it going? All right. So they can't hear your voice right now because it's going in through my headphones. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and record you with Camtasia Studio. And now one of the things you might want to do is just for the best quality that you can get, make sure you have up-to-date, because it's using your video monitor here, your video, any like Logitech video camera. Make sure you have up-to-date drivers.
Yes.
Just make sure everything's up to date. Your hardware's up to date, your drivers are up to date. And if you want, kind of shrink down your screen a little bit. That can help too, the recording area, rather than recording the whole resolution. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click record. And Jason, when this starts up, just go ahead and give them, say hi to the Forge folks for us, okay? All right.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything, so we're proving that this is going to work, right? So I click stop. Now I'm going to unplug my headphones, right? And then we're going to plug it back into the live broadcast so you can hear it.
Thanks for joining us.
All right.
All right, so let's
do
go
that
rewind
again.
that. And Kelly, if you're ready on the audio side, let's go ahead and play it.
Okay.
Greetings, Forge attendees. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything.
So they kept recording, right?
Yeah, I kept recording. I was stopping it. So that's a good example. We just captured that audio. It was really high quality because it was coming right from the machine. One of the benefits here is if we want to go save and edit, if we do it in Camtasia Studio specifically, and next one we'll do...
I don't think we'll have time for the Google
we might not
Hangouts,
have
but,
time.
One of the things that, Walter, I want to make sure we talk about, what are the pitfalls here? What are problems people are going to run into? Because obviously you did some prep work. This wasn't like you just showed up and
No.
turned it on and you did your homework, made sure things were right. So
No.
what do they need to be concerned with?
Let me show you this one quick thing here on, if you do it in Camtasia Studio specifically as opposed to Snagit or Camtasia Relay, you do have a separate audio track.
Okay.
So the nice benefit of that is sometimes the audio could be too hot, it could be too loud
Right.
from the system audio, and you don't want that audio to dwarf your own, or vice versa. You don't want it to be so quiet that you can't hear your own voice. So the nice thing is about if it's in Studio like this or Camtasia Mac, then you can adjust that audio level as a secondary track.
Anything you can do? Is there like some things you can change in your system before you record with Snagit or any of those?
I would say that the best recommendation would be to just make sure that other things are shut down. You may have noticed that even on the Skype call earlier, there was a little bit of delay. Because of extra resources that are necessary when recording, there could be even more of a delay of your Skype call or your Google Hangout. But ultimately, that system audio checkbox is the thing that you're going to want to look at. If there's also options of, if you want to record a webinar and you've got your phone, you buy the right adapter, and this is in the show notes, you buy the right adapter, you can even record a phone call as well.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
Lots of options there.
Well, thank you, Walter. Hopefully the mystery has been unraveled for you guys a little bit. Try it out. We'll get those show notes up there so it's easier for you guys to go through and go through the process. We want to thank Walter today for spending some time with us to go through this. Thank you, Walter.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We also want to thank Dave and Jason for their mischievous fun, and Anum Hussain, who graciously gave of her time to talk to us about inbound marketing. So we're going to be back in November. November's going to be an all-education episode for you got teacher friends. You're a teacher yourself. You're an educator. You're working with kids, teenagers, high schoolers, college-age kids, whatever it might be. Tune in because we're going to have some great things for you. So we're going to be back in November. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, Screenchamp Awards are on. Send us your feedback at theforge@techsmith.com. See you guys later.